California guy.
Yeah.
California
I
shirt.
spent a lot of time in LA, so
There you go.
I'm allowed
To use it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah, how was your week?
Good week. Good week.
You had
We had lots of learn to play clinics. Yeah, so learn to play. For those of you that don't know, Bruins have set up a NHL, I guess, and Bruins have set up an initiative where there's 70 rinks across New England. They pay about $100, $125, 4 to 8 year old kids who've never played hockey before. They get a full set of gear delivered to the house, and then they get 4 ice sessions in their local rinks. So what we do, there's a couple of us that go out and go to these rinks. So essentially October and November for the last 2 or 3 years now for me, I've been going to rinks from Connecticut to New Hampshire to Rhode Island, and then even in the city here, so going all over and jumping on the ice with the kids. So it's a blast, it's a ton of fun, and I hit 3 rinks this past weekend, and then I've got 4 or 5 coming up the rest of this week. So
you get your sea legs back.
Yeah, it's fun. It's the kids are getting their sea legs in a big way, so
Yeah.
that's priceless. There's a bunch of big smiles, and it's
Working
certainly
off that summer rest.
Yeah, you're herding cats, but they're trying to get around to each station. There's a big discrepancy between skaters. So again, the kids are a blast, and all the coaches that we have out, the volunteers that run the rinks are amazing too, because they spend a lot of time and dedicate a lot of their time. So it's a cool thing. It's a really cool thing, and
And
a
you
lot of
said
fun to be
it's
a part of.
a bunch of Bruins do, like you and a bunch of the guys do like the. Is it just
There's
Bruins
3
or
of us.
NHL
No,
guys?
there's just alumni guys. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
Nifty, Rick Middleton, and Andrew Alberts, and myself. The 3 of us go to. So we're hitting about 20 rinks each.
Oh,
25
okay.
rinks each.
So it's like the Vancouver Canucks alumni.
Yeah, 2/3 of it, anyways. Yeah. I mean, Albie and I could cross off a lot of teams between the 2 of us, though. So it's not, we could go right down the wire between the 2 of us. We've got a lot of teams, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun. How about you? What'd you get up to? Anything good?
No shows this weekend.
shows.
It took about a week to recover from that. It's
Yeah.
just a lot of
No Red Bull today.
no
which is
Red
positive.
Bull. I was late.
Yet.
If I
There you go.
if I got here early, would have stopped at CVS. But yeah, yet. I could put some food into my face.
Mhm.
Probably as soon as we're done doing this.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
might
yeah.
see if halftime pizza is open.
That's a standard go-to if you're around here.
Yeah.
Gotta go there.
Or I might take the train. You said you're going to be at Warrior
Yeah,
later
later
on today.
Yeah.
And there is, I don't know how hungry you are, but if you are, pizza place there, Flatbread.
Yeah, I've been. I brought we did the kids bowling there.
That's right. I've
Yeah.
never bowled there, but they do have a lot of hipster beer and
Yeah.
pizza.
Beer is awesome. Beer tap is great, and yeah, we had like a kids' day like Friday afternoon with the kids. It was awesome. We had all the kids in my twins' class, so it was perfect. The adults got to have a few beers, and the kids got to run wild and eat pizza. So it was fun. But yeah, that place is awesome.
It seems like a perfect combination. Like, my dad would have liked to bring me there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like whenever we did something, he'd be like, well, okay, there's a bar near there, we can go there.
Yeah, that's right. It's like a prerequisite. Like scope it out.
Yeah.
Is there somewhere I can get?
Put the bar in the kids' playground, and then
That's right. Yeah.
And it's candlepin though. It's not actual
Yes.
bowling, which I've never done. I've never done the one with the holes, and
Oh, you've never done the big bowl?
nope.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of hard to find around here. I think.
No.
Any place I've ever
You
gone.
can go to like King's or like the big ones. Like Dedham has the big one.
Really?
So I'd never done candlepin before I moved down here.
I didn't know that was just a Boston
I think
thing
that's
or
like
a
a New England thing. Yeah,
There's so many things that are,
New Englandish.
and for people that don't leave and are
Yeah.
ignorant to the rest of the world,
That's
it's
right.
like, really? You've never done candlepin? Like,
Yeah. No, never did it before. And that's what my wife said too. She's like, "What are you talking? This is bowling." I'm like, "This isn't bowling. I mean, there's 10 pins in bowling." So there you go.
That's so, like, why did we come up with, that's kind of like, we took bowling and we're like, no, you guys are doing it wrong. It's like football? No, we're going to call it soccer.
Yes,
And-
that's right. Yeah. It's exactly the same. That was the analogy I was just going to use. It's like, and that's what my son, again, I've talked to him, but he loves soccer, and he's like, why do they call it football here? They don't use their foot, ever. Like
Handball,
and
rugby.
they'd already had a sport called football that's the most popular one in the world. Why would
Like an ancient.
yes, forever, forever, way older than the NFL.
Illegal to use your hands.
Yes.
Football.
That's simple. So why is it not throw ball? You know, but that's a debate we'll never get to the end of.
But that's kind of this country, though. I feel like is like the world is like focused on North America so much that we don't. Maybe it's the schools. I don't know. Like I don't know the name of other leaders.
Yeah.
But I know everyone knows Obama or everybody knows Trump.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. Who do you? I mean, you're Canadian, so you probably know who the president is.
We learned a lot of U.S. history in Canada growing up. I mean, we knew our Canadian as well, but I mean, there wasn't really enough Canadian history. There was always the U.S. was involved, whether it was, going all the way back. So
Who is the Canadian?
Justin Trudeau is our prime minister.
I've actually heard that before. I didn't know that was.
So it's
he was
it's
an
one of
SNL
the
cast
first. So his father was also prime minister, so he's been in the eye for a long time. It's similar to a Bush dynasty, I suppose.
Yeah.
As far as it goes for Canadian, pretty liberal, but
So more of a
yeah,
candidate.
he's a young guy like Obama, hope guy. We went from a conservative to an Obama type esque person up there.
I'll have to
right now,
look
so-
that up.
Yeah,
Because I feel
and-
like with America, it's like we know the president, don't know the Canadian. Like here, I know our governor, don't know New Hampshire's.
Yeah, that's right.
Right up there.
Yeah,
I know
it's
nothing about New
very,
Hampshire.
very localized. I think that's just also the way the electoral votes go and everything else. It doesn't really matter where. It just matters who you're voting for. You don't even have to vote here in Massachusetts most of the time because, from what someone told me. But the big news in Canada is marijuana is legal as of today. Today's the day. Today is second country in the world where it is completely legal to
What's the
buy.
first?
Holland.
Oh,
Yes.
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, everything's legal there.
That's right. So yeah, Canadian recreational marijuana is 100% legal.
Federally.
Stores are open federal cross country.
Wow. I thought maybe I didn't know. I don't know anything, so I'm like I was kind of like I thought it already was legal up there. Maybe it just wasn't as harsh of a
It's
punishment.
legal in the way like medical marijuana is legal. Things like the same way, however, it is. in
Like you can walk
Massachusetts
down the
right
street.
now. Yes,
Yeah.
but now there's stores open today.
Really?
Stores have opened across the country. People are lining up.
Wow, that's
Big deal.
awesome for people that would smoke. I've never smoked, so
Yeah,
like,
I'm not that guy. I'm
like
not.
great. Now it's gonna smell like
No,
skunk everywhere.
I'm just hopefully they can tax it and everyone can make money off it somehow.
Yeah.
But I think it's
Colorado's doing pretty well.
Yeah, well that's it. I mean everyone who owns stock. I mean all you hear is stock and marijuana companies is like a thing. It's amazing. But
It's kind of like a weird we're coming out of prohibition.
yeah, that's
thing.
what it is.
Like,
Yeah, that's it. And at some point in Canada it was legal a long time ago. Obviously, we have lots of grass.
Yeah.
Forests in
Yeah.
Canada, so
A lot of fertile
it is
ground.
actually like out of prohibition technically. I don't know when the last time you could actually, but like when they made it illegal. But yeah, it's a big story up there right now.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I gotta start reading the news.
Yeah.
I gotta get back to that.
Get back in that habit of
Especially
that
when-
iPhone years when you're like in the car, you can look at news and
Yeah, there's Google on there. And
yeah.
I don't
I think this
utilize
is could be a bit of a podcast problem, right? You get a podcast, it's like.
Yeah.
This is what I'm gonna listen to. I don't need to listen. Go to the news. You don't do anything else. You go to
Yeah,
your
you're not
5 sites.
forced
It's
to-
hard to get. I find I'm stuck on 8 websites all day long. Meanwhile, I have the whole world at my fingertips.
Let me
I'll
try and
get
guess the
stuck.
websites. BostonBruins.com.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's not a lot of information on there. Sorry,
No, there
that's
isn't.
good.
I'll go. I actually don't go on that often just
I
because
don't
there isn't
either.
a lot.
I remember I used to go on it a lot back in the day because that was the only thing.
But now you
it's-
get it everywhere.
Yeah. Now it's so. We were trying to be nice, but it's there's no reason to.
No, not really. I think
Unless to watch Behind the Bee.
there you go. You can get that on Nessun.
That's true.
So I watch Nessun. I'll go
I
to
would hope you watch
Nessun.com.
Nessun.
Yes, that's right.
I have a problem with where when I do something, I kind of stop listening or watching it. I've done shows where I'll listen to it, and then I'm on it, never watch it again. And I think it's kind of like a Groucho. I think it was Groucho Marx once said that like I never want to be a part of a club that would have me.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of like that. Like once I do it, I'm like, well, if you let me on it, then it kind of gets rid of a bunch of. Like,
yeah, that's right. Where's the secret door passage, and then once you get in, you don't ever want.
It's like people that I meet that are famous or like that I watched for a long time, and then when I meet them, like Steve-O from Jackass, he came into the radio station one day, and I'm like, oh, it's all the Jackass guys and Steve-O. He's not, like, to me, he's not famous anymore because I met him.
Yeah.
But, like, Johnny Knoxville is still
Yeah,
up
it's
there.
the Wizard of Oz. You pull the curtain back, and then it's just some guy. It's turning the dials back there. It's not the same.
Do you ever get that, like, playing in the NHL, it must be, like, different for you now, where, like, I feel like when people hear that I work for WAF, when I was a kid, I would be like, whoa, you know someone that works at WAF? But now I'm like, it's work. Like, is the NHL kind of like that for you?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's, and unfortunately, I'll probably never really feel the same way about really any sports, but especially the NHL, that everyone else does.
Yeah.
And that's, I can never really be a fan of anything. I have a hard time with that, which is, I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah, a little bit, because you grew up a Montreal Canadiens fan,
I did,
right?
yeah.
And then
but even then, like, if they won the cup, that would be kind of cool still, but it wouldn't.
You'd be happy for like the 12-year-old deal.
Yeah, a long time ago me. So even then, it's like, it's hard. I can't get behind anything. So in that way, I've kind of had my innocence ruined a little bit. But the only reason for that is, and you want the Bruins. I want everyone to do well that I like, but it's not the same as being like, edge of my seat, Game 7, Stanley Cup Finals. I'm more sitting back and just enjoying the show.
I was a little bit like that, like once I started covering the Bruins and I got to know some of like the active players, and I was kind of like that with Steve-O. I was like, well, they're not famous. They're just like kids I could have went to high school with that are wearing that uniform. Yeah. And then, but I'm still like that, where I'm like, my body will physically hurt watching a game. Where I'm like, you'll see.
Yeah.
Especially playoff time.
Speaking of physically hurting your body, did Steve-O do anything like wild on the radio or for the radio, or was he
I'm
tame?
Sure he would have if he wasn't in a wheelchair.
Oh, of course.
He showed up, and I knew that, I mean, we've had guests cancel because of, like, they have a cold or probably they just don't want to come in.
Yeah.
And I saw on the news, like, 3 days before he was supposed to come into the station, he did this stunt for his YouTube channel where he was on a giant box on a skateboard and had a car crash into the box, and he was going to do like a kickflip and land it, and his shin went through his leg. So he came in and he had this giant boot on, and he's just such like, he is Steve-O in real life, but I was kind of surprised at like how fragile he looked from all the damage, and it was just like, he's such a skater. Like, he was like crutching down to the radio studio. I was like, can I pull your pants up for you, man? Like, this is gonna be embarrassing. Well, you know what? I've seen Jackass 3D uncensored. Just keep walking. Never mind. I'm not gonna help you. Worse things have happened on the big screen. But
man.
He had awesome stories, but I was kind of hoping that too.
Yeah.
And also a little bit not. I was kind of like taking note of where the staplers were. And
Yeah.
Like,
Jackass was so incredible. That was like mind blowing at that time. It was so much fun. I didn't miss any of those. It always made me laugh too.
It's so weird that it's like they figured out a way to do that. Like, if you watch other people do it, it's kind of like, what are you doing? This is kind of sad. But when they do it, for some reason,
it was funny when they got hurt. Like, but yes, you're right. Like, there's some people you watch, you're like, oh, that looks like it really hurt, and I don't want to watch anymore. But with like Johnny Knoxville, it was like, or Ryan Dunn, like that was funny.
Yeah.
It was like,
I even asked
man.
Steve-O about that. Like, I was like, why is there like so many, like, you must have so many DMs of people like, look at this stupid thing I did.
Yeah.
And he was like, a lot of people don't get that what made Jackass funny in work was that they weren't doing things, well, they did stuff to Bam's parents, but
Oh man, those are the funniest.
they didn't do anything physical to, well, I guess they did that too. But that's still family. But I think what he said is he sees a lot of people doing things to other people.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, we were doing it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't force a goldfish down someone's throat. He ate the goldfish
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
threw
yeah,
it
that's
back
right.
up.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's kind of the weird fuzzy line that people don't get. It's like, you can do it to your best friend, but don't do it to someone on a sidewalk.
Yeah, that's right. That makes sense because that's how it relates. I mean, as friends, we would have done stupid stuff. We weren't that stupid, but you'd always do stuff to each other against each other to do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
So you can all relate to, everyone can relate to that, I guess.
Yeah,
But those guys were awesome, man. And Bam's parents. So fun. So funny.
He's probably like, people are like, are you ever starstruck? And I was like, not really anymore, but it was probably Steve-O that I was like, I was, his smiley face tattoo that he got in the golf cart, I was like, oh my god, that's that tattoo. I want to ask him to touch it, but.
Oh man, that's funny. That's cool.
Was there ever like good pranks like in the NHL like locker room? You always see the standard ones like the tape on the skates and then the water bottle that opens up and then like.
Yeah, those were all funny though. Those ones were always like, one of the best ones was, and it didn't go over. We'll talk about getting someone who wasn't really in on the joke, but back a long time, like when they used to do the all-star competitions, but like the teams would do it. So you'd have like the hardest shot within the team, and the fastest skating within the team. The Bruins did it like 2000 they did it, and then they stopped it like a few times. People got hurt, so they just gassed it. It was like more. It was just for the fans to come out, season tickets, like on a Sunday afternoon kind of thing. But they cut Kenny Belanger's stick, and he was like, this was his time to shine. Hardest shot. He did have the hardest shot, and like it was a big deal. Yeah, of course. But he actually got to like show that he had like a hockey skill rather than in front of all these people, and they cut his sticks. And he went out and he laid into it, and of course it's it snaps, and he falls on his face and slides into the net. And guys are dying laughing, like it's like, because we all know it's coming to build up. He's like flexing his muscles and so excited. And, oh man, he wasn't too happy by any means. Luckily he didn't punch anyone out, but those things were all like the cliche and the olds, but those ones are always funny. Like I always got a kick out of someone drinking out of the bottle in the morning and having the water.
Yeah, those were especially the tape on the skate.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you see a grown man look like a baby giraffe.
Yeah, and that had to go away because like that was like that could be dangerous. You'd hate to see a $4 or $5 million player going down because some donkey put tape on. The other thing was funny. The other one was really good. Was in Vancouver, Darcy Hordichuk took a lot of grief. Like he got a lot. Every day he got something. And we
team punching bag.
I could go on and on. Yeah, and he was most of the time deserving of it just because of how he was. But I remember in Denver one day they screwed his dress shoes to the stall, like the wooden stall. So they like drilled in so they couldn't get him out. So that was a good one after practice. I think that we were in Denver for like 4 days, and like 4 days straight, something bad happened to his clothes or his shoes. By the end of it, he wasn't happy. But yeah, like guys would get their ties cut. Like there was all those things that did happen and would always happen, and honestly would always make me laugh. I never partook though. Like I wasn't the guy.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I wasn't.
You're not
the guy.
naming names of.
No, I wouldn't do that. And I wasn't the guy. I was probably the guy. I was definitely the guy. Like 3 guys down, giggling and
being
laughing. Like this is gonna be a good one. Yeah, and definitely not telling anyone to stop by any means. I was like, well, I never was the guy who jumped in. Like that's a bad idea, but never the one with the screwdriver in my hands. But man, it was.
Well, also being a goalie, you know
hard to.
You had to be on everyone's good side
That's right.
too for
Always,
practice.
always on. Always the mediator, always the guy. Yeah, and then when Darcy come in and shoot you, oh man, that's brutal, man. How do they do that? To, like on that guy, on the victim's side too. Always that playing both sides.
I would never do anything like that.
Canadian. Never.
Yeah, because if Ken Belanger had the hardest shot, he's gonna get another stick.
Yes, that's right. Sooner or later, he's got 8 cut, but sooner or later he's.
I forgot about Ken Belanger. He was like on when I first started, like my first memory of like a Bruins team was he was like the tough guy on there.
Yeah, he was tough and big, and he was a great guy. He was really nice to me. I was only 20 and living in the hotel, and him and his wife were great. So he was a good guy. Is a good guy somewhere.
So, did anything ever happen to you like that? Like,
no, I wasn't a target.
No.
Again, you would do stuff to guys that were
asking for it.
Kind of asking for it, in one way or another. I'm sure something along the line. Again, you get your room turned, or the guys that get your room key sometimes. That was always, that happened to everybody, I think. That happened to me for sure, but nothing.
But
nothing
there's no like
personal.
hazing thing that
No.
like colleges do.
I mean, we had hazing way back in juniors, in the
I can
90s.
imagine.
Yeah, that was really unhealthy looking back at it, but again, that was just the way it was. But definitely not at the pro level. Everyone was, you do your rookie party and
everyone has
pay your
respect
bill.
once you get to that level.
Yeah, everyone like adults and kids, and
Yeah.
like no one's doing silly stuff. Other than you have to write a big check for dinner.
Ah, yeah. Well, that's
Fun. All good fun.
without this was a fan question, and
yeah.
I'm filming
fan
this
questions.
with my phone, and also the fan questions are on my phone.
Good stuff.
Just
We'll
realized
figure that
my
out.
error.
I'll get my phone. And, loop
There we go. But
feedback.
I put it on my Instagram stories and said like we're gonna be answering questions.
Yeah, I love
but
that idea.
luckily I got some.
You remember them?
So, yeah.
Okay.
One was
I'd love more of them too. Send them in. These are like easier for me to like recall stories or recall ideas when I get asked, because I have so much in there that I really need things to like jog my memory.
Yeah, I don't know how I thought of that, but my wife was like, yeah, I was actually thinking like on the drive home, like you should do like fan questions or something. I was like, that's actually because then it's like what people want to actually hear us talk about.
Yeah, I was thinking too, we could have fans come and hang out.
Yeah.
A couple of times. If, I set a lottery or something like that, if people wanted to actually sit down.
Yeah.
Because that would be fun too.
They interview us.
That's right. And
Or
then
we interview them. Yeah, that's where the fun is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, we're doing that. We should do that. So,
Question.
we're I'm actually building a website for the podcast. Because right now the only website where there's like an actual link is my website, notjoshdolan.com.
Yeah.
And
Not Josh Dolan.
which it is, joshdolan.com. I'm bad at marketing. But I mean, I was just thinking like, well, if you're telling people like, yeah, go to notjoshdolan.com to hear my podcast. Why is it on?
Yeah,
I was like, the show needs its own. So, but I was gonna put like a form or something on the front page, like to ask the questions or something. And
Yeah.
Once we get the studio, maybe get like a phone line or.
Yeah. Perfect. Call in. That'd be the best.
Yeah. We'll do voicemails so we can
Yes.
sort.
Yeah. We don't want to go live with that.
Working in radio, I'm not a big fan of live calls.
No, I
so
can
that's-
imagine.
But yeah, one of the questions was like, I don't want to name names of, I forget the user that asked the question, but they asked like, who is someone you like, it was to both of us for stand-up comedy or like in the entertainment industry, like who have you met and ended up not liking after, or like who's someone that like everyone knows but like behind the scenes you're just kind of like he kind of gets on my nerves, and it's kind of tough. I thought it was an interesting question, but I also don't want to say their name. So.
Yeah. They're out there. They're certainly out there. There's not as many, there's a lot of hockey guys that I'm not naming names either, just to preface, but there's a lot of hockey guys that are in the media that people love and maybe aren't the greatest or most well liked throughout, and then there's a ton of guys that people would think that don't do a great job with the media or come off, not caring or
because they don't have their like own PR guy to be like,
or they just don't really want to toe that line. Just don't want to be the PR guy. They just they get asked questions 10 minutes when they get off the ice.
Yeah.
And they're really not concerned about turning themselves on, for those people, for the cameras, and then it can be turned around. And so there's a lot of guys like that are much better guys than people think.
Like,
I think there's more
they're
of
hated
that.
on the ice, but it's like, he's an awesome dude. Let's hang out
that's
with him.
right. Yeah, or they're hated for random comments or random things they say and do with the media, or how the media doesn't like them, so then they write differently. There's a lot of those guys. I think the kids now do a better job, but I know when we played, it was like you'd get the media training, but you didn't ever really feel comfortable, giving them anything. Where nowadays kids are more, it's okay to be on social media and Twitter, and they're just more used to, being out there and being PR. They're more, they recognize that it's important now.
You guys had media training? Like,
Well, you would have stuff. Yeah, it was very, very minimal. You'd have your PA meetings. There'd be people that come in. You'd have a security meeting, and you'd have drug and alcohol meeting. You'd have a PR meeting kind of once a month through the whole season, where they just come in. You'd have one of these meetings once a month.
Sounds like a ball of fun.
It's something exactly you want to do on a day off, after practice, and sit there for another 2 hours on the rink.
Slideshow.
They get a sub for you, I was like, all right. Never the most favorite thing, but so back to the whole story. There's certainly, and even a guy like David Price, the teammates all say a lot of things about him. Yeah. So I usually go to that before I go to the fact of how he actually deals with the media. I think sometimes, he's digging a hole and he's decided for whatever reason he's going to be stubborn, and it makes it worse and worse and worse. Obviously, in this town he's, can be very polarizing with some of the stuff he's done, and I'm seeing it from very far away and hear it randomly, but I always think, like, if all the teammates are standing for him, he's probably a much better guy than perceived.
If it's like where he's kind of isolated in the locker room and they kind of like...
Yeah, if everyone just says the company line, but it seems like people actually are going out of their way to go to bat for him, there's a difference.
Kind of like, I liked when, I loved when he did this in Toronto. Phil Kessel held his own meeting in his stall, and he's like, listen, the way you guys are treating Dion Phaneuf right now, I'm sick of it. And he went on this whole rant, and I was like, oh my god, I love that.
We had Brian McCabe got it a lot in Toronto when I was there similarly, and he's the greatest teammate anyone would ever want or have, there was just a simple incident he scored on his own goal one night, trying too hard, and it was a big deal, the whole thing, guys hate him. It was didn't make any sense at all.
Everyone scored on their own goal.
Yeah, it was such a they were coming to me I'd be mad at them or something. It was crazy, and it lasted for 2 or 3 days. It was the most ridiculous witch hunt I've ever kind of seen. And again, greatest guy, to a man, no one would say a bad word about Brian McCabe, and a great friend and great teammate. So,
where's he from?
He's from out west. He's an Alberta boy.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because we talked about this on the podcast before, that I feel like in Boston, they do that a lot to the kids that are from Boston.
Yeah, it does make sense.
And I'm like, what? You think that would be the one that everyone's pulling for, but they're all like, oh, you're from Dorchester. Okay, let's see what you can do.
Let's get 'em.
And I'm like, maybe it's because they feel like it represents them more, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
But we have come.
Yeah.
It's all stuff I have no idea about. For the media training, I did a video on this for WEI that I've noticed it I've noticed it for such a long time that when hockey players do interviews, just hockey players, like not in other sports and it's not a Canadian thing either, because I noticed that like once you're doing an interview, that a lot of hockey guys favor the word obviously.
Yeah.
And I did
I use obviously a lot.
yeah, and I do too, but I think it's like right after I get done like talking to like one of the players or something.
Yeah.
It's like my wife asks me what we want for dinner. I'm like, obviously, probably Chipotle. I'm like, what?
I think it's a way of.
It's like a pause, kind of.
It's a pause, but it's also making it. You say obviously as like, okay, this is not controversial in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that this is very obvious to everybody in my circle that this is not controversial. And I'm saying obviously to reaffirm that I do not want this to be a big deal, whatever I say next. That I wanted to, I'm downplaying whatever I'm saying.
It works.
Yeah.
So it's
you defend it before you say it.
Yeah,
It's funny.
yeah. Because the video I did, it was just I didn't ask any questions in the media scrums, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I just had my camera guy just like film me, and I was like, I'm just counting how many times people said the word obviously, and I had to condense it, but like I just started the video with the mic in Bergeron's face. I think I got him with like 5 right off the bat,
awesome.
and then it was like Kevin Miller and McQuaid, and it got up to like a pretty healthy number of obviously, and I was like, oh my god, this is
I'm gonna
too
notice
good.
that now too all the time. But yeah, I know I say it a lot, and I don't. Yeah, it's probably not the proper
Media training.
It's yeah, no, it's a lot of it too is like a lot. I know when I did media, especially I was always expecting every single word I said, everything I did to get back to the guys in the room.
Micromanaged.
No, just to get back to the room. Like the guys are gonna know what I said. Guys are gonna know. So you're always.
So if you're not like, well, the defense wasn't really.
Yeah, so always want to make sure that these other guys, you don't think that you're trying to stand anyone up, or if you're trying to one-up them or blame someone or any of those things. You like double down on that not happening.
So you don't want it to.
And you don't even want to be a show off. You don't want to like do something. You don't want to act differently to the media because you want to downplay yourself almost, so that the guys don't think that you're. I think guys have done a better job now. The league's better at just letting guys be characters. And back in the day, you'd get you'd get heat for that.
Yeah, because I'm always like surprised. I'm always waiting for the jerk. Like I was saying, like someone that I'm like, The only issue I ever had with one person was because of a language barrier.
Yeah.
I didn't know what he was saying. He didn't know what I was saying, and then I was like, hold on, stop. What do you think that word means? And I was like, oh, no, that's not what that means. And I was like, I keep forgetting you're from Europe.
Yes. This is your 5th language.
Yeah.
English.
And I barely know English.
Yeah, that's it. Boston.
But I'm always waiting for that guy that's kind of like, get out of here. And it's happened with other sports and definitely in comedy, and the egos in comedy and not comedy so much, but definitely the entertainment actors tend to be the worst, but musicians actually. I'm just labeling every.
Yeah, just stereotyping.
But I've never run into like a bad personality in hockey.
Yeah, guys are pretty willing to, if you ask nicely.
I wonder if it's you can get hit. It's a very humbling sport. I feel like if once in a while like an NBA player there was more of a threat to get punched in the face, if they'd be a little nicer.
Couldn't hurt having that accountability your whole life.
But
it certainly gives you accountability.
So there's definitely some guys that you think that someone I would see and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure. No, there's a number of guys where I'm like, he is being portrayed much better. Or I wonder if everyone else is actually seeing what I'm seeing in the room, and again, you don't really talk about it because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
It doesn't.
Until it like really affects the team, but But for them, yeah, you there's certainly guys that I was like, oh man, how's he getting away? Like, how does no one see that? You know, what he's saying is not how he's actually bringing himself to the rink every day.
Yeah.
But never to a point where it needed to be like outed or or was actually a bad person to the point of needing to call him out. But just like, fans love that guy. I don't know. I don't see it.
And then you get a guy that's just flat out like no filter, not pretending, like Sean Avery, and people still love him.
Yeah. You can go all the way that way. And then, but there's a lot of quiet guys that, again, wouldn't stand up for themselves or defend themselves or change themselves. That would be like, oh, that guy, what's the deal with that guy? When really he's one of the better guys on the team. So.
Sweet.
But yeah, bring the questions.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll certainly.
And I had another one that was bouncing around in my head that someone sent, and I thought it was an interesting one. That one I thought was interesting because I know for myself that it's definitely like the case where, like, I've worked with people and they're like, oh, he's such a good guy, like he helps out so many people, and I'm like, he's like the worst person I know. But yeah,
exactly.
I'm like, it's he does a good job of
that's right.
hiding it. But yeah, there's we'll have the website up hopefully by the end of the week, and the sound issue will definitely go away. But yeah, so what you got coming up this week? You got your learn to
play clinics. I got.
Do you cover the whole game, like the whole game of hockey?
No. This is skating. Like we're like helping kids onto the ice. Like this is a lot of kids' first time they ever put hockey equipment on.
Oh, so you got some milk crates out there.
Oh, we got milk crates. We got soccer balls. We have tennis ball. We have everything out there.
Oh,
It's a circus, so it's a blast. And there's literally 60 kids that are on the ice at the same time doing this. So it's nuts. It's wild and it's fun. It's super fun. So I have that. We have a couple neighborhood things for like kindergarten class or whatever parties. So that should be a blowout. I'm sure all the parents, suburban parents, will be ready to roll.
Oh yeah.
Those are always interesting. Everyone gets anxious and has too many glasses of wine, and it's funny.
Yeah. Well, alcohol and hockey kind of.
Oh yeah. No,
Pretty sure that's how it was invented.
I can hang.
Put those on my feet.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna go. But yeah, so it'll be pretty steady. You got any shows? Do you watch shows? Will you go to a show? Can you get better by going to watch a show?
I do still love to watch it, but kind of like where it's kind of ruined it for me, where I know how to do it and I can kind of. Before I started stand-up,
you know the secret sauce.
Yeah, like I kind of know the equation for like once you kind of figure it out, like there's definitely better writers, there's better performers, and like people that like deliver it in a way it's like, oh my god, like I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
But when I started doing it, I noticed that not on purpose, but I was watching so many comedians that in my head I was comparing my material to their material, which doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's him, this is me, my act has nothing to do with his. And then it was also to kind of stay away from like having bits or like taglines slip into my head.
Yeah.
And I noticed a few times where I was like doing a pretty big show and I was like, that 500 people laughed way harder at that thing I just thought of right now than they have laughed at my entire act. And I'm like, oh, that's because Bill Burr said it. And that's why.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I gotta try and like take a step back here for a while. But I don't really go out to shows that much unless it's someone. When I first started doing it, I'd be at a club every day if I could, just watching comedy, learning how to do it. But my favorite part became being in the green room or being in like the kitchen or wherever the comedians are hanging out. That's where I feel like most of the learning is done.
Gotcha.
Like you can start out by watching it, being a fan, and then, but it's really the conversations that happen in the back that should not be said into a microphone.
Yeah, of course.
Where I'm like, oh my god, why don't you do that? Oh, because you're married. That's hilarious. Really, not gonna do that in
Yeah,
your special?
can I use that? Can I use that?
I'm married too, so maybe not. But also, I have a job I could lose.
That's right.
I don't need to be on the back page of the Boston Herald.
No.
But yeah, I'll still go if it's someone that I really want to go see.
Yeah.
If it's also, I feel like I've seen
Everyone you want to see?
Yeah, but then there's people that like every time they come back, like Bill Burr, it's going to be a different show. Brian Regan,
Mhm.
like who's going to be on Comics Come Home. That's a big one that I always want to go to. Is
Gotcha.
Comics Come Home, because it's like going to any show in LA, which is I miss those shows. I would go if we had LA type comedy shows
Okay.
where it's you get Dave Chappelle and then it's like Chris Rock and Dane Cook, Chris D'Elia, Brian Callen, and then it just Joe Rogan. You get like 20 headliners in one night, and
Gotcha.
that's kind of like reminds me of an LA comedy club show where it's you get 10 headliners,
Okay.
and nobody wants to suck, so everyone brings their
Great
A
stuff.
game.
Gotcha. Yeah, that internal competition.
So that one I'll want to go to, but I don't really go to shows anymore.
Okay.
Also, I don't have the time.
Yeah, that's always
Kind of
hard,
like
but-
how I'll be watching a movie or a TV show and I get too antsy. I'm like, this was already made. What I need to be making something. I can't.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is already done. I'm watching people be productive. I'm not being productive.
Yeah.
I need to be on the screen. I can't.
That's it.
But yeah, so I guess it's kind of like 50-50 now. But
Okay.
it's got to be like a good show that I'm
To
like
go.
dying to go to.
Yeah. So
And-
nothing this week.
Yeah, and then I'm also kind of weird about like, I'm not saying I'm above it, but sometimes I'm like, why am I paying money to see
Yeah.
comedy when I do comedy?
Yeah. You'd want the free ticket
Yeah,
for sure.
but if it's Bill Burr, I'll pay.
Okay.
But
Got it.
I'm not saying I'm above it, but I'm above that now.
No, I hear it.
And
Well, that's good.
but yeah, nothing this week. Might go get shoes like that.
There you
You're
go.
inspired, man. Your free
Right
shoes.
there. Yeah, my buddy.
Nike ones. I don't know who makes these, so that's
There you go.
that's just generic CVS shoes.
I like
didn't
that.
get them at CVS, but yeah, I don't know.
Payless.
Yeah, they looked a little bit like Yeezys. That's
Yeah,
why I
you
got
got
them,
those.
but they're clearly the.
I would never have asked what they were, so they look good. They were.
Tell me, I don't know what.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was fun. And,
Yeah. What was this? Thanks.
we-
Greatest
we-
bar.
Yeah, greatest bar, and we've been pretty consistent with this. I think this is our
I know we're doing okay.
fifth episode, so 5th week in a row.
Yeah, we're doing okay. It's good. We're
Numbers
Man.
are climbing, so
putting our calendars together. I had a really good word that I dropped in my head, but yeah, our calendars are coming together. We're able to.
collaborating. Or you would say?
No, I was gonna use an M word, but kind of like meddling, morphing.
Oh.
One of those.
Okay.
Morphing good, but
Ooh, we should do a Andrew Raycroft
word of the day.
of the day. Because the word of the day last week that I had to Google it because I was doing like the editing of like putting the text down.
Okay.
And I was like, what did he say? And I had to listen to it a bunch of times, and then even when I put it down, my wife walked in the room and she's like, what did he say? And I was like, I know, I had to
Oh
Google it.
boy.
And
oh boy.
so the word of 2 words of last week was tickle trunk. I was
Mr.
like,
Dress
what?
Up. Mr. Dress Up.
What is
No?
that?
No? Oh, it must be a Canadian show.
I
Yeah,
guess so.
Tickle Trunk. Snuffle up, I guess. Yeah.
No. You have a tickle trunk, we have Candlepin and bowling. So
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Oh, tickle trunk.
But what is a tickle trunk? It's
So it was like Mr. Dress Up was a show, like a kid show when you're like 4 and 5,
yeah.
and his tickle trunk held all his costumes. So it was like this colored chest, like those old chest of drawers. You'd open it up from the bottom, flip up, and he'd come out and wear a costume.
Oh.
Again, I've not seen this show in 35 years, so I'm sure it's much different in my head than it actually was.
I'm gonna have to dig
But it's
deeper.
definitely a tickle trunk, and so that my costumes are in a plastic bin, but it's called a tickle trunk.
Okay. Because I just Googled it real quick
That's
and I was
awesome.
like,
Oh yeah.
Am I gonna write tickle trunk? And he's like, that's not what I said.
Yeah, Mr. Dress Up. I'm 90% sure now that I'm thinking about it. So yeah, Google
shows are so weird like that.
Oh,
like,
especially in
Tickle
19,
Trunk?
you know, like there are 3 channels in 1984. I mean,
Yeah.
eek,
And then
who knows what was going
I don't know.
on? Yeah, it's a little creepy,
Yeah.
but yep, Tickle Trunk. That's awesome.
So word of the week, tickle trunk,
Yeah.
and then this week is. what'd
Yeah,
you say?
meddling, morphing. It was gonna be something else too. I still don't have it.
We'll have to check the replay.
Putting the calendars together. We're showing up every week.
We are
Yeah.
making it work,
Yeah.
and thanks to the Greatest Bar for having us. We'll be out of your hair in a week or two,
Yeah.
and we'll put these chairs back together, and
Yeah.
we'll see you next week. Oh, and send the fan questions.
Yeah.
Don't have the domain yet, but we will. We'll tell you how to do that next week. But right now, do it on Instagram, my Instagram, because we still don't have one.
No, not yet. I'm on the fence. Instagram,
fence.
Twitter, what I'm gonna do. I gotta do something, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Hey,
But I'll let everyone know
it'll keep
when
you
it
busy.
happens. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the problem. That's the problem. I don't want to be stuck to it. But all right,
So-
I'll do it.
all right, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
I'm so glad I remembered that too.